Lil Kim's legacy has never been simple. To some, she was Biggie's brilliant protege who helped shape the sound of hardcore female rap in the 1990s. To others, she was a controversial figure, Biggie's mistress, a public enemy of Faith Evans, and a problem child in Diddy's bad boy empire. But behind the headlines, the drama, and the betrayals lies a painful, complex, and often overlooked truth. Lil Kim was misjudged, silenced, and vilified by the very people she once rode for. Now, the veil is lifting, and it's time to talk about what really happened. He choked me out until I passed out. The Biggie nobody wanted to see. Let's begin with the rawest and most heartbreaking part of Kim's truth, the abuse she endured from Christopher Wallace, the notorious B.I.G. In a now-circulating video, Lil Kim recalled a violent altercation in the studio. "I got my headphones on like this." I'm like, "Yeah, you know that." Boom. My headphones, and I was crying. I was so scared. I didn't know what happened, and he choked me out in the elevator until I passed out. The shocking part? She laughed it off in the same breath, like many trauma survivors often do when forced to normalize abuse. Even more shocking was her admission that despite it all, she still loved him. Kim and Biggie's relationship was never a fairy tale. It was an open secret that she was his mistress while he was married to Faith Evans. The dynamic was toxic, layered in love, betrayal, control, and manipulation. Faith once recalled catching Kim and Big in bed during the holidays. And yet, Biggie still tried to gaslight her about what was really happening. But this wasn't just a private affair. This became the root of a public feud that would haunt Kim for decades. How the hate train started, betrayed after his death. When Biggie died in 1997, it might have seemed that Kim, his most visible protege, would be elevated in his honor. Instead, she was painted as a backstabbing opportunist. From the jump, Kim was erased from the official narrative. Her contribution to Biggie's sound, image, and success was minimized. It was like everyone wanted to bury her alongside his casket, but not out of grief, out of convenience. When the 2009 biopic Notorious dropped, fans expected a respectful portrayal of Kim. What they got instead was a caricature, a hypersexual, loud, volatile sidekick with no nuance. Kim later revealed she wasn't consulted for the film and was blindsided by how she was portrayed. "It was flat-out disrespectful," she said, and the damage didn't stop there. In 2014, Monica was working on a tribute track that reportedly featured a Biggie sample and Lil Kim. But Biggie's estate, helmed by his mother, Valletta Wallace, allegedly refused to clear the sample. Fans believed it was personal. The message was clear. Kim was being shut out from honoring the man she loved. Valletta, for her part, had often painted Kim as everything from a liar to a thief. She even accused Kim of stealing a mink coat from Biggie's house. Whether true or not, the damage to Kim's reputation was done. And those closest to Biggie, people like Lil Cease, fueled the fire. Lil Cease's betrayal. And his redemption arc. Kim and Lil Cease were once like siblings. They both came up under Biggie in junior MAFIA, sharing stages and loyalty. But when Kim was facing perjury charges in 2005 for lying to a grand jury about a shooting involving junior MAFIA, Cease took the stand against her. Kim went to prison for a year. Cease said he had no choice. He was subpoenaed and claims Kim made it clear she didn't want anything to do with him by then. Still, the betrayal ran deep, and their friendship was shattered. But in 2019, at a tribute dinner for Biggie's birthday, something miraculous happened. Cease apologized publicly to Kim. "You're not my real sister, but you are my sister. I love you for life. I thank you for bringing this energy here. I've been trying to reach out to her for years." Kim later said that moment was spiritual for her, a way to mend Big's broken heart. For her, it wasn't about ego. It was about healing the family that Biggie left behind. Diddy, the puppet master who left her hanging. Then there's Diddy. If Biggie was the heart of Bad Boy, Diddy was its brain. And some say its puppet master. Biggie introduced Kim to Diddy in the early days. But when Diddy met Kim, he allegedly dismissed her. "She's too pretty to be rapping," he said. "What am I supposed to do with her?" Despite being her manager and friend, Diddy never signed Kim to Bad Boy. Even after her debut album Hardcore went platinum in 1996, he didn't believe in her. And it didn't stop at business neglect. When Kim went to prison in 2005, Diddy didn't visit, didn't write, didn't even give her a number to call. She was devastated. Puffy never came to see me in prison, not one time, she said. He went to see Lil Wayne instead. Even more gut-wrenching, while Kim was locked up, Diddy started managing her rival, Nicki Minaj. He publicly distanced himself from Kim, and in an interview, said Nicki was his artist now. Kim was not. Despite Kim's loyalty, Diddy had no issue throwing her under the bus when it benefited him. It was a clear betrayal, and one that Kim never forgot. Misjudged, misunderstood, misrepresented. The media painted Lil' Kim as a hot-headed diva who turned on Biggie. They called her bitter, petty, washed. But behind the headlines was a woman who helped shape hip-hop culture and was almost erased from it. She brought sexuality, fashion, and raw female power to the rap game in a way that no one had before. She was the blueprint. And yet, she was never treated like one. Even with all the pain, Kim showed up for people who wouldn't do the same for her. She attended Voletta Wallace's funeral. She forgave Cease. She continued to perform Biggie tribute sets. She brought his family and friends together for dinners. She tried to keep his legacy alive, even when his estate tried to erase her from it. That's not betrayal, that's loyalty. The real Lil' Kim, a survivor, not a sidekick. People have always reduced Lil' Kim to her relationship with Biggie, but she was more than his mistress. She was his artist, his muse, his ride or die, and unfortunately, his victim. Her journey was one of survival, surviving domestic abuse, surviving betrayal from her label, her peers, and the justice system, surviving an industry that chews women up and spits them out. And yet, she never stopped. Even when she was locked up, even when she was blocked from honoring Biggie, even when her name was dragged through the mud, she kept moving. She never once tried to erase Biggie's memory, but others sure tried to erase hers. Redemption and recognition. The era of truth. Now, with people like Lil Cease finally acknowledging their wrongs, the tide is turning. She always acted in my best interests, Cease said in 2019. She deserved better, and she did. Fans are beginning to revisit Kim's story with a new lens, one that sees her not just as the feisty rap queen, but as a deeply loyal, deeply wounded woman who was scapegoated by an industry that couldn't handle her truth. She was not perfect. She's never claimed to be. But what she was, and still is real. Real enough to admit she stayed in a toxic relationship. Real enough to admit she loved a man who hurt her. Real enough to call out Diddy's opportunism. Real enough to forgive Lil Cease. Real enough to rise after everything. Final thoughts. Did Lil' Kim betray Biggie, or did everyone betray her? When people accuse Lil' Kim of turning on Biggie, they're often ignoring the bigger picture. What really happened was this. Kim was abused by Biggie and laughed it off because that's what survivors do to cope. She was denied agency in telling her story, especially in films and legacy projects. Diddy turned his back on her when it wasn't convenient to support her. Faith Evans fought her over Biggie, but the real betrayal came from the men manipulating them both. Lil Cease, her brother in music, testified against her. The media smeared her, but she still showed up. With love. And through it all, she stood tall. So, was she misjudged? Absolutely. Was she betrayed? Undeniably. But did she break? Never.